Last week I went to Washington, D.C., and I met with Goldman Sachs 10,000 small business alumni. And it was a very meaningful week. My biggest takeaway, as it turns out, was what Michael Phelps said. And that is that he realized when he first decided he wanted to go to the Olympics that he was going to have to be in the pool 8 hours a day, 365 days a year for 4 years to achieve his goals. And that's what he did. And he did it numerous times. At one point, he decided, I don't need to do this. I can train for 18 months and still win. That's the year he didn't achieve his goals. That was my biggest takeaway. I'm here this morning because last Friday in our stock talk, I asked our tribe members, what is it you want from me? What is it you want from us? Trent and Mark and I, as members of our tribe. And they said, and Sam jumped in and said, Kerry, I'd like to know what's on your mind every day of the week. What? Yeah, you tell us, and you exchange with us on your tell sheet what the stocks are going to do. But I want to know what's on your mind every morning before the stock market or as the stock market is opening. Well, number one on my mind, of course, is that Iran is up 20%, and that's my largest holdings. And I'll probably make somewhere in excess of $30,000 today. So that's on the top of my mind. But also in the background is a question that I was asked over the weekend as a response to one of my videos. How do you use risk management in your portfolio, Kerry? And I have openly said that I do not use stop losses on my stocks. So I gave some thought of that. How do you inject risk management? And I think it is, I know what I own. And that's as I talk to people about their investments, I recognize that most of them don't know what they own. They take guidance from their brother-in-law or somebody on YouTube who tells them this is a hot stock and this is something that you need to invest in, but you don't know what you own. I got a request on on our Discord. I invite the tribe members to ask me to look into stocks on their behalf and then give them to Samantha. Samantha's my AI agent, and she analyzes every stock that I invest in and tells me what that stock is and does it meet my parameters so I know what I own. I then make a podcast out of it where Samantha and Bart explain the 24-page document that Samantha gives me so that if 10 days later I don't remember what that stock does, I can go and review that podcast and again know what I own. As I said, I got a request for a stock and I just looked it up and it was a gold mining stock. And I suspect the individual who requested that I analyze it knew it was a gold mining stock. And because gold is going up in price, that gold stock, that company's price is going up. But I said I'm not interested in it, and I'm not interested in it because that company does not have control over its future and what its price is going to be in the future because it doesn't control the price of gold. That's controlled by someplace else, the marketplace. They also mine copper and other minerals, but they don't control their destiny. Whereas Michael Phelps knows he controls his destiny. He knows what he owns. He knows his body. He knows what he has to do to achieve his goal. And so he is able to achieve it. And then he works diligently to make it happen. Well, that's what I do in the stock market. I know what I own. And I have learned, partially from what Goldman Sachs taught me, that a growth stock has certain tells. And that's why I call my tell sheet a tell sheet. And what those tells are basically is that they have growing revenues year over year, quarter over quarter. They may not have growing uh, earnings. They may be non-profitable, just like Iran is, but yet they're up 20% today because they are building their revenues as Microsoft and AI commit more money to them to build out the space they're in. They are going to produce profits in the future. They are in control of their business because they solicit business from Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, who have committed to spending $7 trillion on data centers and accelerated compute between now and 2030. Well, if I know these things and I have access to their books and I know they're solvent and I know they're liquid and I know their revenues are increasing at the pace that I ask, I know what I own. And I know that their price will be greater 3 years from now and will hit my parameters that says the price has to double within 3 years. I know what I own. So I'm not worried about what Jerome Powell says today. I'm not worried about what Donald Trump says today. I don't give a damn because I know what I own. If you in your community decided you wanted to go out and buy a business, a restaurant, a hardware store, whatever, the first thing you do is introduce yourself to the owner, and then you'd ask to see their books. And you do a study of their books. You might take them to an accountant, a CPA, and say, is this a profitable company? And then you would study the market that they're in. Does it have a growing TAM, a total addressable market? If it's a hardware store and the population is going down, their TAM is decreasing. So you probably wouldn't buy it. But you would know that before you ever put a dollar into it. And yet, 99% of the people who invest in the stock market don't know what they own. They won't take the time. They don't have the time. Well, I have the time and I have the technology. I went to this small business. I went to and learned what Goldman Sachs was doing. And a professor from Wharton said, you can beat the big guy if you'll use AI to help you make good, sound decisions. You can beat your competition. I don't care if your competition is $1 billion company and you do $250,000 worth of business a year. If you can master AI, you can beat them because they can't act as nimbly as you can. And you can master AI before they do and take their market away from them before they wake up. That's what's on my mind this morning. How to get you to wake up and say, I can take care of my destiny. But I may have to get in the pool 8 hours a day 365 days a year for the next 4 years to achieve my goal. Am I willing to do that? Or am I willing to pay someone else to get into the pool for 8 hours a day and learn and educate themselves to give me an advantage? That's what's on my mind. I'm 81 years old. I don't have that much time in front of me. I don't need money. I need to help people. I need to leave something behind. I need 10,000, a million people to show up at my funeral and say, he made me a multimillionaire. That's what's on my mind this morning. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.